All righty, here we go. Brand new Flyers Daily for the 27th of November, 2025. Flyers Daily presented by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And for people not in the United States, happy Thanksgiving anyway, because it is Thanksgiving, and we're going to feast today. And we've got another appetizer for you of Flyers Daily, coming off a 4-2 win for the Flyers over the Florida Panthers. And for a 10 times this season, the Flyers have not scored the first goal and come away with 2 points. It's defies many years of data that's not the way to do it, but so far this year, it has been the way. And 4 times this year, they've overcome multiple goal deficits to get the 2 points and win the hockey game. That is 8 standings points, only 22 games in. If you were to extrapolate that out and how it would portend through the full season, that would be 16 times in a year where you won games where you trailed by multiple goals. That would be a remarkable number if it plays out that way. To me, that's something that's not sustainable long term, but it's been an identity thing that they have created early this season, a resiliency. I mean, you didn't come back against Tampa on Monday. You lost that game 3-0, but then you come back in this one against Florida and you end up getting the 2 points, getting the win in regulation in a game where you got outshot by Florida 27-17. This is one of the most perfect games you can watch, especially first 10 minutes of the third period. Flyers had like one shot 8 or 9 minutes into the third period on goal registered, but they had about 5 really good scoring chances. And it's not about shots on goal. It's about scoring chances. Because if you stick with that and keep creating those high-quality scoring chances, even though the puck didn't end up on net, maybe it hit somebody in front, eventually you're going to get one. And that's exactly what happened on the 2 goals that they won the game on. It's exactly what happened. On the Forster goal, the initial shot isn't a shot on goal. It gets blocked. But he gathers it. Obels does a great job on the net front screen, and they end up getting the go-ahead goal, and then the Couturier tip-in. It's exactly what you want to stick to. So they get outshot 27-17. They give up the first 2 goals of the game. The first one comes at 5:21 of the first. Nick Seeler breaks the stick in the offensive zone on a shot. Then he goes by the bench to grab one, but he's got to keep an eye on the developing rush for Florida. He can't really keep an eye on the bench, and there was one stick hanging over. He missed it, and he ends up going in to defending this rush opportunity without a stick. He goes down, and Bennett's able to slide the puck just under him to Marchand, who's there on the back door to tap it home, and Florida goes up 1-0. Carter Verhaeghe with the assist as well. That's how we'd end the first period. Florida up 1-0. Once again, for the 9th straight game, the Flyers don't score the first goal of the game. 5:16 into the second. As happened against Tampa, they give up the second goal, 5:16. Carter Verhaeghe picks up the goal to put Florida up 2-0. Now the Flyers, playing a really good second period, eventually get a goal and a real heady play from Emil Andrae. So Tippett gets the puck to Drysdale. Drysdale goes in for a shot and hits the above Bobrovsky's blocker, hits the knob of the stick, and knocks it out of his hands. Now Bobrovsky, because he loses his stick, he drops it. It's in his feet. Hello, goalie nightmare. A goalie stick to boot, which is bigger, and the paddle looks enormous when it's on the ice and you're trying to avoid stepping on it. You ever step on a stick on the ice? See you later. You're going to wipe out. You got no edge. And Bobrovsky's trying to get the stick. He eventually picks it up, but is holding it the wrong way. But Andrae recognizes that he's leaning down to his right on his blocker side to pick up his stick. So what does he do? Finds a lane to shoot it far side on Bobrovsky's glove side, knowing he can't get back over, and he doesn't, and it ends up in the back of the net. Good job by Emil Andrae being heady enough to know that he was scrambling, trying to find his stick, and then shooting it to the spot where he couldn't get to as he leaned down. If you shoot it to his blocker side there, he's leaning down to his blocker side. He's probably going to make the save. But when you shoot it to the glove hand side, he's not going to make the save. You don't pick up the stick with the glove, you pick it up with the blocker hand. So real good job by Emil Andrae. Drysdale knocks the stick out of his hands with that shot. Flyers get on the board, and they cut the lead to 1. It's a 2-1 game. Then at 11:13 of the second period, Flyers get it tied. And initially, we thought this was Emil Andrae's goal, who just kind of threw it at the net. But upon further review, Matvei Michkov, where he is set up in the slot, is what makes the play. Now, Andrae shoots the puck perfectly so that Michkov can tip it. Now, Michkov is fronting the Florida defender, not behind the Florida defender around Bobrovsky. And because he's that left-hand shot, he's there presenting the stick for Andrae. So Andrae knows, okay, I got to give him a puck he can tip. Not too high, not too low, and put it in a spot where he can get it. And Michkov just comes down on it just enough, just tips it enough to change the direction, but he doesn't change it so much that it just beats it down into the ice to try and get it to go under Bobrovsky, knowing he's probably not even thinking of this, but the goalie's going to default into the butterfly and take away the bottom third of the net. But because Michkov knows not to put too much on the tip, he just deflects it down so it goes above the pad, below the blocker, and the blocker's coming forward again because the original Andrae shot, he's going for that. As soon as it's deflected, you can't come back down because you're going out and forward as the goalie. And boom, it's in the back of the net. Little details like that about Michkov fronting the defender, Emil Andrae recognizing it and delivering a puck that Michkov can tip. That's why that's a goal. That's a very detailed execution of a high tip play from Matvei Michkov. Flyers get the game tied, 11-13 into the second, go to the third period, tie ball game. 19-14, we think for sure this game's going to overtime. 19-14, though, the third period, Flyers with really good pressure, really carrying the play, and all of a sudden, Tyson Foerster ends up with the puck from a pass from Travis Sanheim, takes a shot, it's blocked, but he regathers. And all of a sudden, after a blocked shot attempt like that, structure tends to kind of go haywire for a team defending. They're all going, okay, where's the puck going? Do I have my guy tied up? Am I on the right side of the play? Do I have his stick and hands tied up? What does Foerster do? He takes that little bit of ice while they're trying to regather their thoughts, and boom, steps in, gets the shot, beats Bobrovsky on the glove hand side, right where Rodrigo Abels is. Now, Abels isn't just screening Bobrovsky. He is on the edge of his crease. And what you want to do when you're screening a goaltender or you're trying to, disrupt a goaltender legally is not just be down around the blue paint, but be on the edge of the blue paint, especially in a situation where there's a blocked shot and now a regather of the puck for another opportunity, because the goalie's going to want to immediately, when the play breaks down on the blocked shot, want to move out towards it. And because Abels is right there on the edge of the crease, it boxes Bobrovsky in, doesn't allow him to take as much ice. He's got to consider a tip play or deflection or rebound from Abels, and boom, Foerster ends up beating Bobrovsky clean. His just a stick-to-it goal, just stays with it. His 8th goal of the season. Sanheim and York with the assist. Flyers go up 3-2. So what do? You're up 46 seconds left in the game. You're up a goal. You know Florida's going to throw the kitchen sink at you to try and get it tied. So what do? You have that next shift. You put 3 of your best 200-foot players on the ice, all centers, Couturier, Cates, and Dvorak. What do? And because they're all good forecheckers, they forecheck the hell out of the Florida Panthers. They end up with possession in the offensive zone. Best defense is offense. And eventually, Dvorak gets it down low to Couturier, who tips it past Bobrovsky at 19:35, and that gives the Flyers a 4-2 win. It's remarkable. I mean, you look at the amount of standings points in games that they trailed, didn't score first, or trailed by multiple goals, and you're at the tune right now of about 22 standings points. The Flyers have 27 on the season. And as tight as this Metropolitan Division is right now, where the bottom team is Columbus, every team's above Hockey 500. Columbus is at the bottom of the division with 25 points. And the top team in the division is New Jersey at 31 points. Here's from the bottom up. Columbus, 25. The Rangers, 26. The Capitals, 26. The Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins, 27. 28 points for the Islanders, who the Flyers will see coming up on Black Friday. And the Flyers also have 2 games in hand on the Islanders. Then it's the Hurricanes at 30, who the Flyers have one game in hand on, and the New Jersey Devils at the top with 31 points, who the Flyers also have one game in hand on. Flyers also, teams below them, the Washington Capitals, 1 point below the Flyers. Flyers have a game in hand on them. And the Rangers, 26 points, 1 point back of the Flyers, but the Flyers have 3 games in hand on the Rangers and 1 game in hand on the Columbus Blue Jackets. So when you kind of sort it by points percentage, I mean, it's remarkable that they've been able to bank points in these situations through a quarter of the season. I mean, it is really kind of crazy. When you look at it and sort it from a points perspective outlook, the Flyers right now, a 614 points percentage. It's the 3rd highest in the division, tied with the Penguins. When you look at it in the conference, where they're placed in the conference with that 0.614 points percentage, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th place, 5th in the conference, ahead of Montreal, ahead of Ottawa, ahead of Washington, and a bunch of others, including Florida. Toronto is in real big trouble. So it's astounding to see. It really is remarkable to see that they've been able to make a living doing it this way so far this season. I'd like to see them get out of doing it this way this season, but we'll see. But you take the points now while you got them, and you move forward. It's the Islanders on Friday on the island, and then the Devils on Saturday. All right, one last thing before I let everybody get back to their turkey. I saw this comment on the YouTube feed that I wanted to address. This comes from Flyers Purgatory, very Negadelphia guy. But he said, Jason, with all due respect, please stop calling it a rebuild. The national media isn't calling it that here anymore and are just as confused as fans. Okay, first of all, I'm going to comment on this as we go. Don't tell me what to call this friggin' thing. I've lived through every day of it. So don't tell me not to call this a rebuild. It's a friggin' rebuild. It's not a tear it down, burn it down to the studs rebuild, but it's still a rebuild. Go back and look at the team 4 years ago and look at the key pieces that aren't here anymore, Flyers Purgatory. Guys like Kevin Hayes, guys like D'Angelo that you mentioned, guys like Provorov, and many, many others. And he said they barely missed the playoffs. Okay. Does missing the playoffs or barely missing it mean it's not a rebuild? Look at the teams that tore it down to the studs. Edmonton still hasn't won a cup, and they've got the best player on planet Earth, and they are massively flawed. Look at a team like Toronto, who probably won't make the playoffs this year. So don't tell me this isn't a rebuild. He said, now they look destined to just finish out again. Well, they're a quarter of the way to the season, and they're in the mix, okay? It's about starting to take a step forward in a rising cap world. It's a different world now than it was 4 years ago, where the NHL was a flat cap world. To gut a team down to the studs was damn near impossible during that period of time because teams weren't taking on players with bloated contracts in a flat cap world. He said, we have one player under 23 on this roster. BS. Dude, fire up the internet. Fire it up. Emil Andrae, 23 years old. Matvei Michkov, 21 years old. Jamie Drysdale, 23 years old. Zegras just turned 24. There's others. Nikita Gorbenkin, who played last night. Not a full-time guy yet. 22 years old. You guessed it. So come on, dude. Don't just make things up to fit your argument. If you're going to come with that stuff, bring some actual facts. Don't come to me and tell me not to call it a rebuild. It's a rebuild. I'm sorry it doesn't meet your definition of a rebuild, or maybe it didn't meet Frank Saravalli's definition of a rebuild. Did they do it the same as Anaheim? No. They were in a different situation than Anaheim. Did they do it the same as San Jose? No. They were in a different situation than San Jose. Did they do it the same as the Rangers did when they got Panarin and Shesterkin came? No, because they weren't in position to do it that way either, which was nowhere near a tear it down. Or many other teams. Every situation is different. So don't tell me, don't tell other people not to call it a rebuild. This is not a retool. We've seen teams retool. This is not a retool. Look back 3-4 years ago and look at the significance of the pieces that have been moved. It is a rebuild. And I don't care what your definition is of it. Don't tell me not to call it a rebuild. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.